not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
When Caitlin Clark and experienced star Kelsey Plum faced off in the WNBA All-Star game, it became an unforgettable contest. And fans were going crazy over what transpired. With the crowd tense and the lights blazing, Caitlin didn't simply hold her own. With a performance that lit up the scoreboard and silenced skeptics, she totally shut Plum down. However, her game wasn't the only thing that took center stage. Everyone was genuinely taken aback by what she said after the buzzer. What exactly did Caitlin say, and why is it still causing such a stir throughout the league? Caitlin Clark was subtly poked fun at by Kelsey Plum. It was intended to be a time of unity. The WNBA All-Star game will take place in Phoenix, Arizona, on July 20th, 2024. The best names in the league came together for a celebration of their power, talent, and advancement. However, one peaceful moment set up a chain reaction of controversy rather than demonstrating unity. And at the heart of it all was Caitlin Clark. In addition to wearing jerseys, the players' strongly displayed message was displayed on their chests as they took to the court. "Pay us what you owe us." It was proud, loud, and essential. A strong demonstration calling for greater respect and equitable compensation. At first glance, it appeared to be a watershed moment for women's basketball. However, that message took a different turn, and neither the fans nor the media were responsible. It originated within the league. Plum leaned into the microphone during a post-game press conference and made a statement that seemed like a rift in the foundation. Although she didn't have to, she chose not to mention Caitlin Clark's name. Not to be a snitch, but none of the Clark team members were particularly present when she said those things. That was more than a passing remark. That was a well-aimed, emotionally charged shot. Plum was alluding to the players' exclusive meeting earlier that day, where celebrities convened to organize the demonstration and support the "Pay us what you owe us" message. Plum claims that nobody from Team Clark, a group that has arisen behind Caitlin as a result of her extraordinary fame, attended. And the most talked about rookie in WNBA history felt like this after hearing that remark. It seemed like more than just a statement to many. It was an attempt to portray Caitlin as aloof, self-centered, and someone who enjoys the limelight but doesn't fight alongside the other players in the league. The internet became aware. Supporters took sides. Caitlin was defended by some. Plum was commended by others for pointing it out. However, one thing was obvious. This went beyond a simple t-shirt. It turned into a personal matter. The All-Star game abruptly changed from a celebration to a contest. One that took place in locker rooms, the news, and on every internet corner instead of on the court. What if, however, the actual All-Star match broke out off stage and away from the court center? Watch to learn how Caitlin Clark elevated shade to a prominent position. Let's correct the record. Since Caitlin Clark wasn't even involved in the game, she wasn't there at the All-Star meeting. Back home in West Des Moines, Iowa, she had already been ruled out, concentrating on her recuperation and personal hygiene. No locker room remarks, no pre-game tunnels, and no jersey. She continued to dominate the news, nevertheless, for some reason. Not because she doesn't care, but rather because she didn't need to demonstrate her commitment to a cause she is already supporting. Clark chose not to wear the "Pay us what you owe us" shirt. Caitlin is the influence. The boost in TV ratings, the sold-out venues, and the increase in ticket sales. The Caitlin effect is that she is promoting the movement rather than merely endorsing it. But Team Clark was unaware that things were going to turn chilly when Kelsey Plum brought up her name during the news conference, without actually naming her. Instantly, you could sense the tension. Sarana Ionescu's face was captured on camera as soon as Plum made her small, non-tattletale remark. She didn't grin. She did not give a clap. She appeared tight and uneasy, as if even she was aware that the remark was inappropriate. Stacey King, a WNBA veteran, also didn't hold back. "Why are they disparaging Caitlin?" he tweeted. "You guys are getting paid extra because of her." Facts, without filters. Because, let's face it, this united front was beginning to seem unfair. A few athletes were committed to unity. Some were more interested in cheap shots and side eyes. The rookie with the most attention and the smallest ego is in the center of it all. This is the section that actually changed the course of events. There was still a lot of controversy in the league, but Caitlin Clark physically moved into a new lane. Caitlin appeared in a global Nike advertisement a few days after Plum's remarks provoked criticism. She was in the spotlight, smiling, prospering, and silent. Then the time arrived. Under Armour signee Kelsey Plum shared a picture from the same Nike event. Who do you think appeared in the comment section? Caitlin with a single, flawlessly sharp line. "I appreciate the Nike commercial." Boom. In 6 words, a sophisticated, impenetrable retort without any rage or sarcasm. That post went viral. Hundreds of retweets and thousands of likes. Fans adored the shade as soon as they saw it. No callouts or interviews are required. With a single cold move, Caitlin completely changed the atmosphere. She didn't have to yell. She simply let the world speak for itself. There are times when they rage silently. What profound effects did Caitlin's quiet have on the league? You should not skip this section. Caitlin Clark's silent power weekend. One thing was evident by the end of All-Star weekend in Phoenix on July 20th, 2024. Despite never having touched the parquet, Caitlin Clark was everywhere. No buzzer beaters, highlight dunks, minutes, or jersey. However, in every viral video, she was the main character, the headline, and the focal point. The sponsors waited in line, the cameras followed her, and the attention was all hers. Kelsey Plum, meantime, was rapidly becoming hot. A scathing remark made at a news conference turned into a full-fledged uproar. It didn't sit well with WNBA fans. She was criticized by the media. Even retired NBA greats chimed in, describing her remarks as needless and trivial. The verdict? She chose the wrong person. And this is what added to its epic quality. During an interview, Caitlin Clark remained silent, didn't tweet, didn't make a comment, and didn't respond. She was not required to. The whole sports community advocated for her. The change was immediately noticed by analysts. The league's face is Caitlin Clark. According to one, the owners see dollar signs when she walks into a room, and they're not mistaken. Cameras are being turned by her. Fans go from one state to another to see her. The WNBA's expansion fee increased from $50 million to an astounding $250 million thanks to her. It isn't hype. Value is that. Unquestionably valuable, bankable, and measurable. And despite the commotion, Caitlin did what real stars do. She gave a hoop. In her subsequent game, she was doubled, pushed, and targeted, but she remained composed and bowled out like a pro under the pressure. No distractions or showmanship, just leadership and buckets. And Caitlin took the long view as the rest of the world dissected Plum's jab. She maintained her poise, maturity, and strength. Then the event that launched the internet into space arrived. An Instagram message with just 6 words that was like a grenade. "I appreciate the Nike commercial." No rage, no hashtags, just unwavering, cold assurance. That remark transformed a brand's image into a shade masterclass. The subject abruptly changed. Analysts began discussing the jealousy that was brewing throughout the league more than Caitlin missing a protest. Not one ESPN voice held back. The hand that feeds them is being bit by them. Fans were aware of it. The players witnessed it. By the end of the weekend, what had appeared to be a quiet effort to distance Caitlin Clark had become a huge spotlight that was illuminating her excellence and exposing those who attempted to hide it. When applause was not as loud as quiet, there was no buzzer beater, dunk, or even a statement that made the headlines during All-Star weekend, but rather the most explosive scene. It originated from body language, awkward pauses, quiet, and one of the year's most embarrassing press conference video. It took place on July 20th, 2024 in Phoenix. Kelsey Plum made her now famous jab at Caitlin Clark in the middle of her sentence. Even though you were sitting right next to her, you could hear the smirk in her voice. Another celebrity and league face, Sabrina Ionescu, said it all with her response. Without smiling, nodding, or leaning in, Sabrina remained silent. Her face was motionless, and her posture tensed. The moment was not co-signed by her, not even blinking. "I'm not part of this body language we've seen in a while," was the most obvious. It was more than just discomfort. The flag was red. And since this wasn't a post-game gaffe, the internet saw it right away. The WNBA All-Star Weekend was this weekend. A moment intended to shout solidarity, sisterhood, and the indisputable success of women's sports. A platform where all participants were expected to shine together. But Kelsey Plum struck a match and destroyed the atmosphere rather than igniting the league. NBA veteran and champion Stacey King did not duck the quick and vicious criticism.